Okay. Alrighty. So I think we are good to go. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see me okay. So welcome everybody. Glad that you are here. Welcome to the live stream tonight. I apologize for such a late start on this project. You know, as I'm sure most of you know, the holidays are always crazy, so I was a little bit late on getting this project out. I really couldn't decide what I wanted to create. So that was one of my biggest struggles, was just picking a topic that I thought you guys would enjoy. So finally got that done today, and here we are. So, hi Patricia. That is very sweet of you to send a Christmas card, and thank you so much. I will definitely look forward to that. Hi TH. I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving as well. Sure, I think that was better. Okay. So, TH, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We did have a lovely Thanksgiving with family. So good to see you here. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Maggie Mouth. Good to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Hi, Angela. Hi, Faye. Hi, Rich. Hello, Tracy. Tracy, I sent you an email about the stickers as far as which ones you might want. So if you want to just drop even a message here in the chat as far as what stickers you would like, if you don't know what all I have. I mean, I've got trains, I've got wildlife, a little bit of everything of my most recent projects. So go ahead and you can put that in the comments section and I'll make a note, or you can send me an email and we'll get those stickers out to you. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to switch screens here so you guys can see a little bit better. And I'm just going to start by doing a little bit of sanding. So if you're new here, I usually start with a pattern and a reference photo. And these are available on Patreon. So if you're a supporter on Patreon, you can have access to this exact hand-drawn pattern and the reference photo so that you can follow along with the tutorial. So I'm going to start by sanding our guidelines just so that they're a little bit lighter. That graphite paper gets to be a little bit heavy and a little bit dark sometimes. So I like to sand it down a bit before you start burning, because if you burn over those guidelines, they're a lot harder to get rid of. So this project is a lot about negative space burning because the swan is our positive space. So we have to burn around that white swan. So we're really going to be focusing on this water rippled background. And this project is roughly 5 by 7 inches. So it should go fairly quickly, and I'll kind of bounce back and forth between the razor tip and the Versatool. So, okay, thanks Tracy. Hi Dennis. Hi Monty. Hello Jennifer. Glad everybody can be here. Monty is asking what grit am I sanding the guidelines with. This is a 3500 sanding pad. It's by M Jump, and you get a little kit of these. And this is pretty good. I want to use a grit that will remove the graphite lines but not damage the surface of the wood that's already been sanded up to like 600. So you want something fairly soft. So it might take a little while to get those light enough, but you can always kind of go back and sand if you need to. Hello Estella. Glad you can be here. Okay. Also, before we get into the wood burning, I do have a couple quick announcements. Calendars. I went ahead and got the calendars ready to go, so you can view the calendars on my website. So I put together a calendar for the year 2023 with all of my artwork. This artwork has not been featured in a calendar before, so it's all new art. A lot of them are newer projects from this year. There are a couple favorites of mine that have not been published before. So if you want to get a pre-order on that calendar, now's the time, because I have until, I think, December 1st to take pre-orders on the calendar. And I know some of you have already ordered your calendars, and I will get those out to you as soon as I can. But just a heads up that if you would like a calendar, this is a great time to get them. They're great for gifts for you or other people that like art. So there's that quick announcement. And then my second fun announcement, kind of a surprise, is I will be hosting a Secret Santa online event for patrons on Patreon. So if you are on Patreon and would like to participate in a Secret Santa program, I will be doing that and putting an announcement together this weekend. So there's no pressure. You don't have to participate if you don't want to, but it's basically where if you want to participate, I'll put your name in a hat and you'll draw someone else's name and you will ship them a little gift, you know, like $20, $30 gift or something, and mail it to them as a surprise. And then we'll do like a live stream opening, and everybody can open up their presents on the live, like the Zoom call. It would be a Zoom call if you want. So that's my fun announcement. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and let me know. Again, this is open for patrons only. If you've wanted to become a patron but you haven't yet, this is a great time to join as a patron. So it's going to be people that join or current members of November will be eligible to participate in the Secret Santa gift program. So there's my fun announcement, and let's go ahead and get started with the burning. Are you guys having troubles with the live stream? Okay. Move me over here. All right, so how are we doing on the feed? Hi, Feel the Rut. Glad you can be here. Yeah, sometimes the live stream kind of cuts out once in a while, but it should be okay to go. There is possibilities of buffering. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and dive in here. So the first thing that I want to do is make a light outline around our swan to kind of separate the background from the foreground. And if you do have buffering challenges, you can always go back after the live stream and you should be able to view everything and it should be smooth. So I'm just using the upper tip of the shading point to make just a real light outline kind of around our subject here. So I hope you guys heard about the Secret Santa program. If there's buffering or anything, let me know, and I can repeat that section. But I am going to be hosting a Secret Santa event for patrons that follow me on Patreon. So if you have questions, you can let me know. And look forward to that announcement on Patreon this weekend. I will announce all the details. So it's quite dark down here, and we do have some nice ripples. And these ripples are actually quite simple to do. They're very abstract, which is fun. Okay, so TH, you got my email about the website. That's great. Yeah, as soon as I got done with my craft fair, which I'll talk about here in just a little bit, I went ahead and completely rebuilt my website to give it kind of a new, fresh, updated look. It was a little bit dark, so if you haven't checked out my website yet, go ahead and feel free to do that. It's minisapyrography.com, and I redid everything. So I like it. It's very light and open, and let me know what you think. All right, so there's a lot of different angles here, so I'm going to kind of block in this swan from a few different angles. Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate that. Feedback is lovely and much appreciated. I think the website has a cleaner look now, too. So I'm outlining both the swan and the reflection. Maggie, my temperature is set on the highest setting for right now, so the dial is maxed out. I usually tape it with electrical tape because it does tend to move. If this temperature is too high and you're struggling to get an even burn, you can always turn that down, and that helps for sure. Yeah, Maggie, it's on full power, so it's maxed out. Oh, Rich, that's a great point. Rich is asking if Walnut Hollow has a Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales. And that was something that I was going to talk about tonight, and I didn't make it on my list. Yes, their 40% sale is now going. I'm not sure how long it will last, but if you're looking for quality pieces of wood, I get all of my wood, like 99% of the wood that I use is through walnuthollow.com, and they are running a 40% off sale right now. So you get 40% off all of their pieces of wood, and like if you need a new burner, those are 40% off as well. You do have to pay shipping, and wood is heavy, so be prepared to pay in shipping, but I still think it's worth it because of the 40% discount. I pretty much only buy wood once a year, and I went ahead and put in my order yesterday morning. So I am all caught up for the year as far as my wood supply. But that's a great thing. So you can go to walnuthollow.com, and they've got their discount code on the screen. So you'll be able to find that. Okay, so here's our little swan. I'm almost thinking about burning a little bit of detail on the swan, and then we'll kind of expand and do the background. And you can do that the other way too, that's just fine, if you want to do the background first. Hello, Chris. Oh, okay, Tracy, okay. The freedom fighter. Okay, so you get 2 stickers. So, okay, so you get 2 stickers. So it was kind of, you know, you could do one for you, one for a friend. So I would send like 2 trains. But if you want one of each, you know, one of the freedom fighter and one of the chaos, I've done that for other people as well. So that's totally fine. So we can do 1 and 1 if you'd like. Okay, so some of these sections here on the swan's head are quite dark. Just be mindful of how long you spend in an area so that you don't get that real dark overburn and casting of kind of a little bit of a fuzzy edge. And so everything down below the swan is very similar as far as values. It might be a little bit darker, but we just have these really fun waves in here. Also, I do have a sale running on my website as well. It's 30% off all art prints and educational materials. So my tutorials, my DVDs, the books, they're all 30% off as well. And I see that some people have put in some orders and they didn't use that discount code, so make sure that you put the discount code in when you check out in order to get that discount. So the bill of the swan looks kind of like a gradient where the left side is going to be a little bit darker than the right side, and then we have a real nice light kind of highlight on this side. So we'll try to start that gradient. And if you need to darken it up again as you go, that's okay. You can go back and add a little bit more shading and kind of darken that up. I think it helps to wood burn in layers, because if you try to do everything in one pass, it makes it a little bit more prone to overburn. Okay, so I'm going to turn this, and we're going to work a little bit on the area where the swan, it kind of meets that water line. This almost looks like a bowl or something. The reflection is kind of crazy. Estella is asking, So you didn't change the temperature, you're just moving, or you're just putting less pressure and moving more quickly. Yes. Normally I don't use a lot of pressure as it is with wood burning because you can damage the points. But if you keep a light pressure and then just move the burner faster, that helps. So I would recommend, if you have a hard time controlling it quickly enough, moving your burner fast enough, then go ahead and turn that burner temp down. But you should always have a really light pressure if you can help it. Just float the burner on top of the wood, real gentle. So if you look at my wood burnings from the front, they're very smooth. There's very little indentation or any kind of gouge marks. Everything's very, very soft. So the slower you go, the slower you move your burner, the darker the line becomes. Okay. So I'm going to add just a little bit of soft shading. We have a little bit of an area here that looks like a shadow up above the wing. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Now, even though we're burning a white swan, keep in mind that you will be seeing values other than white in here. So just because your subject is white doesn't mean that there's no light or shadow or valuation changes in your subject. So I am blowing on the point a little bit to help cool it down and then moving the point back and forth a little bit quicker, but you can always turn the burner down if that would help. Okay, so we have a little bit of a lighter shading kind of across the body of the bird. It looks like it's a little bit backlit, so our lightest areas are going to be kind of on the top edge. So when I'm shading in a large area, I want to minimize the space between the strokes. I want my strokes to be as close together as possible, and that will help to create a much smoother shaded area. So this is just kind of a little bit of a rough sketch to go ahead and start developing a little bit of shading, and then we can always go back over and darken up some of our shaded values a little bit, because as soon as you put down a value that's against just unburned wood, it looks dark enough, and then once you shade the surrounding values, it tends to be a little bit too light, I've found. So you can always go back over and darken those up a little bit more. Rich, yes, I did have pretty good success at my craft fair. It was a little bit slower than the previous year as far as attendance and sales, but it was still worth, the time and investment, and I made my booth fee back and then some. So that's a win. I know some people at that same craft fair had very few sales and couldn't make their booth fee. So overall, it was pretty more slow than the previous years. But it's kind of, it rides with the economy, I think, as far as how those craft fairs are successful. So I know we're looking sideways here, but you can see in the photo that the swan is going to be darker in the water. So the reflection of the swan will be a little bit darker. Now, this is the really fun and abstract part. And I have the swan turned this way because most of our strokes are going to be going with the grain and the irregular patterns of the wood. And so it's just a little bit easier to turn that wood to suit your hand than try to fight it going the other way. Okay, so this beak is crazy wiggly, but that's okay. So with something this abstract, you're going to want to just follow the reference photo and do the best you can to create the same value and texture that's in the picture. Because in a nutshell, that's pretty much what it comes down to when you're trying to create realistic wood burnings, is your value and your texture. So make sure your darks are dark enough, your lights are light enough, and that you have a nice mid-range tone of values to create that sense of body and depth. And then make sure that your texture matches too. So if your subject is really smooth, try to get your strokes to look smooth. If you are wood burning a rock and the texture is really rough, then try to match that with your strokes and make it really rough as well. So most of the texture in here is very smooth. So just some real soft shading can help. Just follow those wiggly lines in there. Hi, Dennis. Thank you for your question. Dennis has a question that says, how long have you been wood burning and when did you realize you had a talent for it? I started wood burning by accident, really, in 2009. I tried my hand at wood carving and it was horrible. And I thought maybe if I made it stand out by burning the carving, it would look better, and it didn't. But I immediately fell in love with the possibility of wood burning. I grew up with a little bit of an art background. My dad is a professional oil artist, so I grew up watching him create just amazing landscapes, and always had a love for art, and I tried pretty much all kinds of mediums out there. I was good at drawing and realistic artwork, and so I kind of translated that over into wood burning and was really drawn to the possibilities, the different types of wood, whether they're flat or round. And the first time I tried just kind of a free hand sketch of an elk on a little aspen round that I had cut down from the forest, I thought, this looks, you know, has potential. And so I showed it to my husband, and he really liked it. And so I think from then on, I've been trying to push myself as an artist and keep trying new things and new types of wood until I kind of settled into where I like basswood now, and I like the versatile with the shading point. So that's kind of where I've settled into what I like, but I still love to challenge myself when it comes down to the subject matter. I like to take on these crazy difficult projects because I just want to know if I can do it. And so that's kind of helped me to push and grow and attempt things that were probably out of my range when I started and out of my abilities at that time when I started. But as I continued to push through that project, I learned so much that it really kind of accelerated, I think, the learning curve that we all experience. So I don't know, I see really well in values. Color I have a harder time with, and I'm trying to teach myself color, but values I'm really much better at. So I guess pretty early on, Dennis, I learned that I had a little bit of a skill for wood burning and definitely a large amount of interest, and together that kind of pushed me forward into kind of where I am now. So I hope that answers your question. Patricia is asking, do you charge by complexibility of the wood burning? So Patricia, do you mean like if I sell a wood burning or take a custom order? Is it based on the complexity of the wood burning? If that's what you mean, to some extent I do charge a little extra for a complex subject, especially when I'm taking custom orders. So people that go into a custom order know up front that it's going to be probably a little bit extra if it's really more complicated, like if there's lots of faces, like a full family portrait would be a lot more work than just a single portrait, and so I usually increase my price a little bit for those. But I know there's kind of a, it's weird. When you create a big wood burning, people usually tend to purchase by the size. They equate a certain size to a certain value, unless it's jewelry, like little tiny diamonds are, you know, more expensive than a big piece of wood. But it takes so much time to wood burn a large project that a lot of times I have a hard time getting the money back out of that in regards to time involved. So it's tough to get the time and the money and all that out of a project that you deserve as an artist, because people have hang-ups as far as certain sizes and you know, like something small people don't want to spend a lot of money on unless it's something shiny like jewelry. But not sure if that answers your question, Patricia. I hope so. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Really appreciate the compliments. Thank you. Patricia, yes, if I sell. Normally I have kind of a price range for certain sizes because I know how long it usually takes me to create something of that size. So I can kind of ballpark a project now based on the size, because I know it takes me a certain amount of time to do something of that size. So again, I hope that helps. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so here on the underside of the water, the reflection, we have a lot of these stripes, a lot of lines going through here. I think I'm probably going to burn most of the Swan with the Versatile, but then switch over to the razor tip for the negative space around the Swan, just because I can control the temperature a little bit better with the Versatile on the lighter Swan, but I'm going to need more power to do that background, so I'll switch over to the razor tip. So when you're burning water reflections, it's okay to have a little bit more spacing between your strokes. That is actually a little bit more helpful to create some of those stripes. So don't get really hung up on getting a nice smooth texture in here. It's totally fine to have some stripes in there. Rich is asking if there's an ugly swan moment on the project. Ha ha. So if you're new here, I always pretty much come across an ugly duckling stage in the wood burnings where you're just starting and you haven't put a lot of time into it yet, and you can struggle when you first start a project because you put in, you know, a considerable amount of time and it's still not pulling together and it's not looking quite right yet, and that's what I call the ugly duckling stage. And I think every single piece of artwork out there goes through an ugly duckling stage where you just have to really force through this stage where it doesn't look all that good, and this is that time where you're going to want to quit on a project, where you get maybe a little disheartened and a little frustrated, and that's when you need to just kind of understand that it's just a phase and it will pass, and the more that you would burn or paint or draw, the better your project will get, and you'll get through that ugly duckling stage and you'll be just fine. But yes, this might be an ugly swan stage here. So like right in here, we've got lots of stripes. So you can rock the point up a little bit and get those in there. Don't worry about your smooth shading. Agreed, TH, yes. Every project has that testing point where you just want to throw in the towel and quit. But that's, I think, one of the best teachers out there is persistence, and just don't quit. Even if it still doesn't turn out the way that you wanted, in the end you'll be better as an artist for continuing on and pushing forward, and just don't quit. So even if you get to the end of the project and it still looks bad, you've learned that you can push forward and persevere and work through difficult sections and keep going. Okay, so we've got a little bit of soft, fluffy. The neck of the swan is just so poofy and fluffy, so we want really soft edges here. And we can always go back and kind of burn some more layers and make that look a little bit better. But you're going to want a really soft edge as you kind of come around the neck area, because it's in shadow. Okay, so after you get that first pass down, you can go back and add another layer. So the secondary layers will help to kind of smooth out some of the strokes that are a little bit rough, and you can adjust your values a little bit more as you go. Okay, so all of our values here are a little bit light, so we'll want to kind of go back and darken these up a little bit more, especially on the water side of the Swan, where that reflection is. It's going to be definitely a little bit darker. Hi, Chris. Where do I get my gloves? Chris says, I have not found a pair to help with the heat. Okay, so this is a simple gardening glove that I purchased about over 10 years ago, and it's pretty ratty and it's falling apart. I don't use it a whole lot for the heat. My main concern is for accidental burns. You can see over the years I've, bumped against the burner or dropped it and tried to catch it, that sort of thing. So this is mostly for protection against accidental burns. If you are struggling with heat buildup, I would say one of the biggest things is don't work on a flat surface, because your hand will kind of trap the heat, because the heat is going to rise. So instead of working on a flat surface, if you can incline your surface, then so if you're inclined in your surface like this, that heat will rise up and away from your hand a little bit. So this works a little bit better than flat. So I would start with an inclined surface. Also, some of these pens get really hot, and that's difficult to deal with. Sometimes you just have to turn them off and let them cool down and then go back at it again. But as far as gloves that reduce the heat, I'm still looking. There's some like kitchen gloves and stuff that are supposed to be really good at blocking heat, but they're huge mitts, and you lose all your dexterity, I found. So I'm still looking for a really good glove as well. This helps a little bit with the heat, but not much. Again, it's mostly for accidental burns. Maggie, where did I get the bean bag for my hand? A very long time ago, like 15 years ago or more, I bought a computer keyboard and a mouse, and here's just a little support. You can see you're supposed to have like the mouse right there. It just is to support your hand while working with a mouse, a computer mouse. But it's basically just a little bean bag. I can feel the little beans inside. It's a little bit stretched out, but I can kind of fold it over and support. I do not use this when I'm working with the razor tip, because I hope I can get a good angle on this. Let me try this way, because these pens you're able to grab right near the tip, and you don't need that wrist support. Whereas with these burners, you can see how much farther away your hand is from the point. And if you were just to try to work, I rock the point up and work on that upper tip, and it's a nightmare to work all bent over like this. It just doesn't work. So that's why I use that little bean bag to just prop up my wrist so I can get the appropriate angle. Then I'm burning more flat. It's just a little bit more ergonomically correct. But it's just a bean bag. You can even take a sock and fill it with rice and use that to support your wrist as well. It's just something that I found is a little bit more comfortable. Rich, yes, it does protect from carpal tunnel syndrome. So anything that you can do to protect your joint and reduce that repetitive stress injury is very good. So okay, so I'm just adding a little bit more shading here on the reflection side of the Swan. I think it's still overall a little bit light, but I'm going to try to keep moving here so that we don't really run out of time. But very good questions tonight. I really appreciate the questions. Great job on that. They're all good questions. pretty good start on the Swan. It needs a lot more shading down there, but I'm going to switch over, I think, to the razor tip for now, just because it heats up a little bit faster. Okay, so this is the point that I'll be using. I purchased this around 2009. It was the small round shader. I think they've since changed their point, but I did sand a little bit on the edges to make it more of a spear shape point instead of a round, because it gives me just a little bit more control. So I'm going to start with like a level 5 on the dial. Rich, yes, we will be doing pizza tonight. So we try to get the pizza to come out of the oven around 8 when the live stream is over. So again, I don't really use that bean bag when I'm working with the razor tip. So let's make sure I'm an okay temp. Yep, that'll work. So the level 5 with this point will be just fine. So I'm just going to kind of darken this up a little bit more. It might be a little bit too hot, but we'll try it. So the razor tip can heat up to a much higher temperature, so it can help when it comes to burning the darker values. I'll kind of switch back and forth as far as using that or the Versatool, depending on how much time I have for a project. But still, you're going to want to really move that point fairly quickly so that you don't get the stop spots and the accidental overburn. And you can definitely build up darker values a little bit faster, which is pretty handy. Okay, so let's take a look at our swans here. Swan. Okay, so now we're getting our reflections a little bit better down below. I'm going to go ahead and start into some of the background water ripples in here. So we do have some of these nice light stripes. Those are going to be our positive shapes, our positive spaces, and then we're going to burn negative spaces around them. So instead of just adding a blob of paint, we are going to burn around some of those sections. And, you know, if we turn the wood this way, it's going to be a lot more difficult to burn in there, but I'll turn it this way for a little bit and work on it. I know it's hard to see it come along when it's sideways, but that's generally how I wood burn, is you just got to turn the wood. So I'm going to try and do this a little bit this way so you guys can see better. And again, this is very abstract. It does not have to be perfect. You just kind of want to follow some of the general areas in here. So you want to make sure that you leave plenty of negative space. So these light sections in there, you want to make sure and keep those unburned for now. Hi, Dragon's Horde Design. Glad you can make it. You're saying that welding gloves work great. Okay, cool. Very good. I've not tried welding gloves. I would think they might be a little bit thicker. Probably thicker, but that can help reduce heat as well. Okay, so I'm working a little bit up here on the, it's kind of the reflection behind the swan. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Get pizza.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, people.
Will says
Hello.
hi. I put all the shoes in the mud room.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Bye, people. Okay, bye, people. I go.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm up here. So you can see a lot of streaks in there for right now, but we can smooth that out with more layering. And again, this angle's a little bit more tough to burn. It's a little harder for you to see too. Okay, so most of our lines in the water are flat. So they're going to be like horizon lines. But here where the swan is making ripples, you can see there's a little bit of an arc in here too. What was that?
That was the downstairs door.
Oh. So there's a little bit more of arcing in around the swan. Other than that, most of your strokes are going to be going sideways. Dragon's Horde Design is asking, I'm currently looking into getting a machine. What are your thoughts on WEP 939 III dual pen? I am currently using my Touchmatic wax pen. I am a jeweler. Wow. I am actually unfamiliar with both of those wood burning tools. I know there's a lot of them out there, and I'm not sure on that. There are some great pyrography groups on Facebook where people have used some of those other burners. That might be a good place to post a question of that sort, because unfortunately I'm not quite qualified to answer that question. You can certainly look at reviews as well. That's always a good place to start. Okay. TH is asking, if you do the Zoom sessions, would we be seeing others in the group or just you? TH, that's a good question. I will be offering both group classes and one-on-one classes, so it depends on whether you are in a group setting or one-on-one. I will probably, in the group setting, you'll be able to see each other's work and what they're working on and their particular questions as well. That's kind of the plan with that. Hello, Clackers Clark. Morning and evening to you as well. Hope you're doing well also. Glad you can be here for just a bit. All right, I'm probably going to turn this back a little bit here. Let's see if we can't improve upon our water stripes. This should go a little faster too here, so. Dennis is asking, can you take out an overburn or lighten it up somehow? I have found that using a a fine grit sandpaper can help reduce that overburn. You're just going to want to use the smallest piece of sandpaper that you can get away with to kind of lighten that up. I've done that over the years and that can help. But you want to treat the surface of the wood as gentle as you can and try not to sand over the areas that you've already burned, because even if you burn back over a sanded area, it does look a little bit different.
Hi.
Hello.
I got 2 pizzas up, but I couldn't find any tortillas.
They're in the They're in boxes.
Those things.
They're the 2 big boxes with like several in them. I know. Thank you. Everybody says hi.
Hi, people.
Okay, so this is working a little bit better. So as we kind of come into some of these stripy areas here, we're going to rock the point up a little bit more and get a harder edge. And we're going to do some little looping arcs in here to show some of these ripples that are going out through the water. Kind of like that. Looks a little bit rough right now, but we'll keep working at it and kind of dial it down a bit. Okay, so it looks pretty busy right now, but we're going to build up some darker values around this little light area and try to clean things up a bit. Thanks, Tracy, about explaining the values in the art. I'm certainly trying. I am not professionally trained. Never went to school or anything for this. I'm all just self-taught. So I know some of my terminology is a little bit maybe different, but I hope to be relatable for sure. So Dragon's Horde Design says that a rotary flex shaft with a small burr is amazing for fixing overburns. So that sounds kind of like a Dremel type tool as well. And yeah, I tend to avoid the Dremel tools because I'm not very good at them, and I tend to damage the wood a little bit more than I probably should. So I think I see them as a little bit more aggressive, and I have a hard time controlling them. But that is definitely another option for fixing mistakes, is a Dremel tool. I would practice maybe a little bit first before you try that, because it can, like the way I use Dremel tools, it can definitely damage the surface of the wood. So I need more practice on that one. So Thanks, TH. Thanks, Tracy. So you can see I did kind of go into the Swan a little bit here on some of my strokes, and I'll clean that up a little bit later. I'll probably try to clean that up with the Versatool because I'm a little bit more stable with that. And remember, we talked about keeping a really irregular edge when burning large backgrounds. You don't want to create a very consistent blocking in of an area like this, because you usually get ridges in there that are hard to blend out. So hopefully you can see those kind of like ridges in there. Those are hard to blend out. So by keeping your edges irregular, then they can kind of mesh and blend together just a little bit better. Dragons, Horde Design, you use those all the time, the Dremel tools. Awesome, yep. I don't have much experience with those. But that is definitely a good option to fix mistakes as a Dremel tool. Dragons Horde Design says, I love how interactive you are compared to other lives. I appreciate it. Awesome. Well, thanks. I know our lives, this live stream is still pretty small, so I'm able to interact with people as a little bit better, I think, than some of the bigger ones. So, and I like the interaction because it gives me something to talk about. It helps the time go by a little bit easier. So I'm probably not going to finish out all this stuff around the edges because that would take quite a bit longer. So I'm going to really focus on just getting as much of these ripples in as I can around the Swan. For any work right around the Swan, I'll probably switch to the other burner. Just a little bit more comfortable with that, and I make fewer mistakes. So I just want to really make sure that I leave some of these positive spaces, these light stripes in there. They're really bright right now, but we can tone those down as we go. So I'm just focusing on my darkest values first, because that's kind of how I'm wired. I see the darker values, they just jump out at me, and so I tend to burn those first. Rich says, thanks for showing the irregular lines again. I'm working on my current piece and using that method as learned here on Livestream. Very good. Yes. I like things to be perfect. And it's easy to get in that habit of marching the burner across the wood in perfect little sections, and I've done that. But when you step back, you can see them, and then they're harder to blend in. So I find that keeping an irregular edge helps prevent those very visible patterns that certainly, like in nature, you don't see patterns quite like that. So like fur patterns don't happen in rows. They're all very irregular like this. So as I get farther away from my light source, these lighter stripes are going to kind of fade out into the dark. So we can start working on fading those out now. Did you bring up the whole box?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully there's room in the freezer.
And if not, we can just take the little things out.
Oh, okay. Because we're only cooking 2 of those tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
There's only 4 here.
Oh, okay. My chef is preparing dinner. Yep. Of course, he loves pizza, so I don't have to twist your arm too bad.
No. Not really.
No. Well, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So my son is making pizza. He's very good at it. So again, just really accentuating those strokes. Everything is going to have these lateral strokes in there. Estella is asking, will you do another live stream to show us more progress on this one from where you leave off tonight? Yes. Yeah, we have like an hour left. I don't think I'll be able to finish this in one session, so I will work on this next Friday, and we can probably finish this up. I also have a stack of projects that we need to add color to. So if I finish this wood burning next week, and we still have a little bit of time left, we'll add color to some other projects. So and we'll just kind of keep on moving. Yeah, I think this is going to be a two-parter tonight. So I'm just starting with just some stripes. That's all I'm doing. And then I'll kind of go back in and make those stripes a little bit bigger, but still try to leave just a wisp of a line. So make them bigger. Leave a wisp of a line. Just keep repeating that until we start filling in the darkness of the water and leave some highlights in there. So this is definitely an ugly duckling stage of the water. So it looks a little bit better when you turn it sideways, but we have a lot more work to do on that water, and we will do as much as we can tonight. But hang in there with me; it'll come together. I know wood burning takes so much time to produce. But I really like the live streaming aspect because of the interaction with everybody and being able to answer questions on the spot. So thanks, Dragons Horde Design. So great to have you here. I hope you have a great night as well. So I'm going to kind of build up some of the darker values out in the water that's away from the Swan. But still using that same back and forth motion. Patricia is asking, do you ever work with watercolor pens when you like to add color? So I'm just starting to learn how to use watercolor pens, and I've not incorporated them with the artwork, with the wood burnings yet. I've been practicing with those on paper and having some success and some not very successful projects. This was supposed to be a vase full of flowers, but it kind of went crazy. So I'm still teaching myself those, and I love incorporating color into my projects. And probably if you use watercolor pens, you might need to pre-treat the wood first and use kind of a clear gesso. Then the watercolors will act like watercolors and they won't just soak into the wood. It'll be a little bit more flexible and forgiving if you treat the wood after the burning but before the watercolor paint. That's kind of my experience so far anyway. So this is all pretty crazy. It's very stripey because I'm pretty much just doing darks and lights. I don't have a whole lot of mid-range tones in there yet. but we're going to dive into that here in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off and set it aside. I'm going to switch back over to the Walnut Hollow Creative Versatool. Okie dokie. So here's kind of a little snapshot of where we are right now. The water is very, I'd say, flat because we only have our darkest values and our lightest values. So this needs some more midtones in there to kind of balance things out. And when we're done with this edge here, you won't see that outline around the swan. We'll blend that in and it'll look more natural in its environment. Thank you, Tracy. Oh, Patricia, you got some watercolor pens today? Yeah. So if you need to remove the top and add water, you got to screw it the other way. The threads are backwards. I fought and fought. I got a watercolor pen set and I could not fill the reservoirs. I could not unscrew that sucker. Turns out it was threaded the other way. So tighten it to loosen it. It was crazy. Okay. So now that I have the Versatool, it gives me just a little bit more control with some of the lighter values, and I'm going to kind of blend in some of these highlights here because they're a bit too much. So we still need some light stripes in here, but not as bright as they are right now. So you're going to really want to be careful that you don't burn into the swan on this part. So take your time. Turn the burner down if you need to. That's totally fine. Thank you, Feel the Rut. I appreciate it. Thanks, Patricia. Yeah, the reflection is something I've not shown how to woodburn water reflections live yet. So this is definitely a fun challenge. It's something that is actually quite simple. It just takes a little bit of time to get everything blended out the way that it needs to be. So you can see already that outline that we first made is starting to disappear. That's why on the rare occasion that we do outlines, you keep a very light value so it can disappear into its background. Because we don't want to see those heavy outlines if we can help it, especially when we're going for realism. If you want a different style of artwork with big, bold outlines, that's totally fine. And in some cases, it's really, really cool. In this project, with the realism that we're going for, I want to make sure that those outlines really just kind of blend into their environment. I do that outline to help separate my values a little bit in the beginning, but then we just kind of smooth it all out and make it look real natural towards the end. And so if it's too light with one pass, then you can go back over and darken it up a little bit. And if you find that you have some rough edges around there, you can go back this way and kind of clean those up a little bit. It helps to burn with the grain, but there's obviously exceptions to that rule, and there's times where you just have to burn whatever way that you can. Rich is asking, is the tip of the shading point slightly bent upwards? Not really. Let's see here, not this one anyway. So see, it's pretty much flat. I have some that look like bananas because I bent them. I don't think I have them here, but if you tend to put too much downward pressure on the tip, you can bend those points and they'll kind of rock up a little bit on the front part. So, but no, this point is pretty well straight. So even here where everything's pretty light, we can go ahead and add just a little bit of a shading there. I'm gonna have to fix that swan. Okay. So now you can see a little bit more how that original outline is disappearing into our background. I still have a little bit more blending to do around there, but we can totally do that. Rich is asking, does the mid-tone give depth? Absolutely. Without the mid-tones, it'll look almost like a coloring book page, like just outlines. And if you have either one of my books, look in the shading section where I show about the toilet paper wood burning that I did as a shading example years ago, long before the whole toilet paper outage thing. I burned a piece of like an image of a toilet paper roll with several different value scales to show the effect of if you only use darks, if you only use lights, or if you use the entire range of the value scale and what that looks like. So if you do have those books, go ahead and take a look at that page, and that can help show you how the midtones can really add the depth that you need to see. Hi Larry, glad you can be here. Hi Latin Hill Hustle. That's kind of hard for me to say, but hello, so glad that you can be here. Very great. Glad that you burn as well. Thanks for joining in to tonight's live stream. So we're just kind of taking our background, and which is really rough, but we're just kind of blending it and smoothing it into the swan area. So we have started our background with darks and lights, and now we're going through and we're adding in some of our midtones in there. And keep in mind, guys, this is a pretty quick study as far as how to do this. The more time that you invest in a project, usually the better it turns out. So I'm definitely rushing this one just to try to get the information across. Okay, so we're going to turn this way. We're getting there. This area down here is still a little bit too stripy for my taste, so we'll kind of blend that out a little bit too. Okay, Rich, you do have the book. Okay, yeah, take a look at the toilet paper shading section in there, and that will help to show you the effect that the mid-tones can have on a project. So as we get farther down in the picture, we start getting darker in our values. So our darks are going to be a little bit darker. Even our highlights are going to be a little bit darker. Okay, so that's getting a little bit better. Let's work a little bit more in some of these highlighted sections here where the ripples are. And I think we just need a little bit more mid-tone ranges in here. So we want just a few of those little highlights. So I get kind of a little bit lost here and I forget to talk, so sorry about that. All right, so we're starting to get a little bit more of some of those highlights in there. I know a lot of this in here needs to be darkened up. So I might work on it this way for a little bit. Let's see if I can't improve upon that. Now remember, dark values will push away from the viewer and light values will pull towards the viewer. So to help make this swan pop forward, I just need to apply enough darker values around it, and then it will pop forward and you'll have that nice illusion of depth. And I'll go ahead and I need some of these stripy patterns in here too to help match the background. And same thing down here. Maggie says, so when you're shading, do you shade with the tip or the flat part of the shader? So a little bit of both, depending on the subject. So normally I use this like a pencil. Let me get the angle right, and I just use the upper part, kind of like that, if you can see that. So it's almost just like drawing with a pencil, like that. Now, the more that you rock this point up, you'll get a much harder line. If you rock it down, you'll get a softer line. So you can see here's the harder edge, here's the softer edge. So it depends on whether you're working on that front tip or rocking it down a little bit towards the flat part as far as whether you want a hard edge or a soft edge. And then on occasion I will lay the entire point flat on the wood to do some side shading. Or this is how I do my black backgrounds, is I'll lay that point flat on the wood like that. So you can get a wide variety of edges, whether they're a hard edge, soft edge, or a big shaded area with all this one point, depending on how you hold it. Again, that's why that bean bag is helpful, because it can prop my hand up into the right position so I can rock it up and get that upper tip, or lay it down flatter. I hope that helps explain. I know this is your first time being here, so this is our 31st live stream, which is amazing. All the other live streams are posted on Patreon, so if you have interest to check those out, there's a ton of information on Patreon if you'd like to kind of go back through some of the past live streams. So we've done a wide variety of projects over the past more than a half of a year, like 3/4 of a year. Okay, so the front part of the picture is looking better. I would still darken up a lot of these areas in here, but we can kind of keep going around and seeing what we can do as far as shading. Let's see. Okay, so it's 7:30. I usually do a giveaway at 7:30. I don't have my prints or stickers. Hold on, let me grab those really quick. Okay, so I have some stickers here of some of my artwork that I'll be giving away tonight. I just have to think of a question to ask. So this contest is open to everybody, and I just need to just post your question in the comment section, and I will select a winner, and you'll get 2 of these stickers that I have. I've got, sorry, they're sideways, a little bit of everything here. So, tonight's question, I have no idea. Alrighty. I think we did like a Thanksgiving thing yesterday, but I'm struggling. You guys figure out a question for me to ask tonight, and I'll keep wood burning. Okay, what is your favorite type of wood to burn on? So if you answer that question, what is your favorite type of wood to burn on? Just go ahead and throw your comment in the comment section, and I will select a winner to receive a little giveaway. TH, I'll do that one next time. Favorite winter activity. I like that. I'll try to make a note of that. Alright, TH says basswood. I think I'm still dealing with the turkey brain fog. So I'm having a hard time asking a question. So, yeah. Let's do tonight your favorite type of wood. Rich, that's a good one too. Favorite holiday movie. I'm going to save both of those for the next week's question. I'm even going to write them down. So, favorite winter activity and movie. Okay. Okie dokie. So I'm just going to kind of keep going here while you guys, if you would like to participate in tonight's little giveaway. Larry, I like that question too, for sure. I'll put that on my list too. So I'm just using the Versatile right now to kind of block in some of the sections right around the Swan, because I have just a little bit more control with this one, and then we'll block in the rest with the other burner. And I do have kind of a weird stripe through this piece of wood, which I thought I might be able to hide it in the reflections of the water, so I'm going to try to do that. So a lot of people say basswood as far as their favorite type of wood to burn on. Tracy says white birch. Ooh, everything is crisp and clean. I'll have to take a look at white birch as well. Thanks, Larry, very much. And I'm glad that you like the new website as well. I agree. I think it looks much cleaner and is a bit better. So if you've not checked out the new website yet, go ahead and take a look and let me know what you think. I spent quite a bit of time redoing that. I do all the graphic arts and website design, and I do everything. So I need a manager or a helper, but it's just me for now. So let me know what you think. Okay, so tonight's winner is going to be Feel the Rut Outdoors. So congratulations, you get 2 stickers of your choice. Just let me know. You can send me an email, questions at minisapyrography.com, and let me know what stickers that you would like and where to send those. So congratulations very much. Feel the Rut Outdoors. And see, I'll probably get those packaged up and they will ship out like next Monday. like early next week, so Monday. Thanks, TH. Glad that you like the website as well. So hopefully we'll kind of at least be able to finish up this live stream with a little bit of outlined Swan here. You can see I'm really making my strokes very irregular and maintaining the stripes that I need there. Okay, I'm probably gonna, let's see how this is turning out. So yeah, we're doing better. I might switch over to the other burner and develop some more of the darker sections. But this is coming together quite well. All right. Oh. I think I might turn that up just a little bit more, closer to 6. It's going to be probably a little harder to control, but see what we can do to speed things up a bit here. Larry is asking, what is the effect of those irregular strokes? So the irregular strokes just allow me to kind of blend and transition the rest of this background a little bit more easily. So I can kind of match irregular strokes like this quite nicely. Whereas if they were all, I'm going to burn myself, if they all had to meet up exactly, all my strokes, it would be really difficult to blend. So these irregular strokes help to kind of, it's a good marriage between certain shaded areas, and those irregular strokes are also helpful to get these nice rippled effect that we're after. You're very welcome, Larry. So I'm just kind of just really working with this back and forth motion to try to fill in some of this water and the ripples. And again, we don't have a whole lot of mid-range tones in there. We have a little bit, but we'll go ahead and develop on that with future layers. Can't see. Okay, so we're getting there. We need to build up a little bit more of the darker values kind of underneath the reflection to kind of make that reflection pop a little bit more. Okay, so as we develop more of that dark water, that will make our reflected swan really show up. Okay, so that's getting a little bit better. I think we'll probably develop up and around the head of the swan next. So I'm kind of defining this edge here between the darker values and the lighter ones with that reflection. And this point as well, you can also get a nice variety of both hard edges if you rock this up, or soft edges if you rock that down. So by adjusting the position of the burner, you can get some interesting and different results with that. So I always encourage someone that's just starting out with wood burning to try out all the points that they give you and just kind of see what is able, what you can create with the different points and see how you like them as well. Good night, Larry. So glad to see you here, and I hope you have a great week. I'm right there with you as far as being tired. So I hope you have a lovely night. And then try the points in ways that may not make sense. You know, flip them on their side or use a different approach to the different points. And that's a really good way to kind of experiment and see how to create the different effects with everything. And then with that experimentation, you can kind of settle into some of your favorite project the points and tools. So that's very helpful as well. But this is kind of the overall appearance that you're going to want with water. I think Maggie's having some troubles with connection tonight. But yes, Maggie, I agree. Basswood is definitely the best, my favorite wood as well. So I'm sorry if you're still having some internet troubles. And I know sometimes I'll try to comment on something and it says it doesn't go. But thank you very much for commenting and joining in tonight. So, and keep in mind this is a pretty good, kind of a rough sketch. We'll definitely keep adjusting this and building on the structure that we already have. And I think I'm going to turn this sideways and at least try to get up and around the back of the swan and try to get that blocked in so it looks a little bit more swanish. Okay. And we'll try to get rid of some of these outlines if we can tonight. I know we're getting real close on time. Keep getting my hair caught in the camera. Now everybody's so quiet tonight. So our live streams are usually a little bit more fast paced than this, but I know a lot of people are gone. You know, they've got family staying over for the holidays and all that. So it's definitely a quiet night, and that's just fine. Okay, so let's take a look here. Rich, yeah, Missy is here somewhere. We got the dog, Sophie is here, but Missy's been sleeping here for a while. She's our kitty cat. Awesome. Okay, so as you can see, we still have a little bit of an outline up and around here that will blend out and smooth out. I think I'm going to call tonight's session a little bit early. I know we got like 9 minutes left, but I'm not feeling all that great tonight, and But I really appreciate everybody being here, and thank you so much. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and please stay safe out there. And look forward to seeing you guys again. And I guess if you have any questions, you can reach me through my website at minisapyrography.com. There's like a contact form there and everything, so you can reach out to me. You can also email me questions at minisapyrography.com. So if you have any questions, go ahead and shout out. And thank you again so much for. Oh, here's Missy. She says hi. Okay, come on. And thanks again. So Dennis, you had some troubles tonight as well with your feed. Go ahead and once the feed is over, you can log back, or you just replay the video, the live stream, and it should play without any problems. I know sometimes the live has a challenge. So thank you for being here. Have a great night, TH. Thank you so much. Tracy, thanks. Yeah, we got quite a bit done on this Swan tonight. It's a great start, and really appreciate everybody being here. So, all right, have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Rich.